I want to talk about love. It has been on my heart, and it is all about the mission of your unity.
I use the word unity is embracing where you are about and community around you.
And so my point of departure is always stems from my faith.
Whatever's going to happen, God's people are going to be all right. And I want us to pause and just reflect on that one thing, that word love. It's 4 letters, such a short word, but it means so much.
And that energy naturally exudes,
Yes.
and people are attracted to those things.
It's just another moment for creative thought, and I think that has to be put out there for people to understand.
We can't control the whole world, but we can control ourselves. If each of us chooses love and unity in our own lives, the ripple effect can heal communities, cities, and nations. Welcome, everyone, to Our Unity, a show that wishes to spread a spirit of peace and love in the world, one conversation at a time. We encourage you today to share the story of you. During this holiday season, why don't you tell people a little about you, where you're from, where you came from, where you're at, where you're going. Tell them about your past, your future. Tell them about the things that you enjoy, your hopes and your dreams. It is so important that we share a little bit about who we are with others in the world. We can build better bonds, and we can gain a greater understanding of one another. And more importantly, we can find out that we have some commonalities as well. I am your host, LaShawn Walker. I'd like to welcome you in. Please like, share, and follow. Let everyone know that we're on right now. How are you, my beautiful people? I hope that you're having a wonderful start to the holiday season. Oh my God, the weather outside is frightening. It's getting so chilly outside, and I don't particularly care for the cold, as you know, but I'm enjoying the season. I really am. I'm enjoying the lights. I'm enjoying the love that I'm seeing on everyone's faces. I don't particularly care for the traffic, but I love what this season brings right now, and it's bringing a lot of joy is what I'm seeing. A lot of people are also taking the time to serve and give back and to share what they have with others, and I think that is so very important as well during this time. There's so many people that are lacking, there's so many people that are in need, and it is so important, if you remember from my last show, that we actually show up and give of our hearts in any way possible. And that's what I've actually been doing. I've been participating in some, gift giveaways and toy drives, and I'm even hosting one myself, the Sandy Claus toy drive that I do every year in honor of my best friend, Sandra Cabrera, who is no longer here, but loved this time of year. And I'm trying to keep her spirit alive by making sure that I'm giving back to those that are in need right now. And I hope that you guys are out there doing the same. So there's a lot of parties going on. People are buying a lot of gifts. There's so much happening. 2026 is knocking at the door. There's newness being ushered in very, very soon. So I hope that while you're out and you're celebrating with the ones that you love, that you're also sharing a little bit of who you are with those that you're encountering during this season. I really think it's important that we start giving the gift of us, the gift of you to others. Tell people a little about yourself. Share with them what your dreams and your hopes are. Share with them where you came from. Even when it's gift-giving time, why don't you give them a gift from your culture? Give them something that actually comes from your heart, from your traditions. Share with them what Christmas meant to you as a little child. Share with them what your culture and how your culture celebrates this season. I think that it is so important that we give of ourselves completely. I think that now, especially in the time that we're living in this world, that everyone needs to be sharing who they are from the depths of their soul. not just who they are as Americans and people that are living here in this country, but who and where they came from, their traditions, their nationalities, their diverse, beautiful cultures that they were raised from. I think it is so important that we share that so that we can bring unity and community and peace to ourselves, to our neighborhoods and to our families and to those people that we work with as well in business. It is high time that we share the truth of who we are. And that's what I'm going to be doing this holiday season. I already told you last time I had the show 2 weeks ago that I don't like to shop. I really, truly don't. I feel like I give throughout the year. So I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time at the mall. I'm going to be coming up with something that I can give to others that is from my heart, something that I think that they can actually use, and maybe even give them a story or two about my past and who I was growing up. I think that is something that is so needed and probably very refreshing for others to see and to hear. So it is about those untold stories, those stories that we haven't been able to share throughout our years, but maybe should take this time now in 2025 to share it with the people around us. So I have an amazing guest that I want to introduce you guys to that wrote a fabulous book about just that, telling a passionate story, a story about her life, her upbringing, the things that were important to her and the things that she wished she would have shared even back then in those times, but how her story now, her telling her story can make a difference for others. So the title of the show is The Power of Untold Stories, Healing, Equity, and Belonging in Our Schools and Communities. And we will be speaking with the beautiful Dr. Cary Boodram-Wright. She is an author, educational leader for diverse learning communities, and the founder of Wright Visioneer Consulting, Incorporated. She is the author of Igniting My Passion, Understanding the Impact of Untold Stories, a compelling nonfiction narrative research memoir that weaves personal storytelling with research to explore cultural identity, equity, and the transformative power of untold stories. Grounded in both lived experience and scholarship, her work offers practical guidance for leaders, educators, parents, and students to navigate school systems, strengthening family partnerships, and cultivate inclusive, thriving educational environments where all voices are honored. Through Wright Visioneer Consulting, Dr. Boodram-Wright provides consulting, training, keynote presentations, and workshops that empower leaders and organizations to advance equity, belonging, and culturally responsive practices. Her work centers on cultural competency, curriculum and program development, professional development, and authentic collaboration among schools, families, and communities. She also integrates her signature CCTS framework for relationship building, care, comfort, trust, and safety. A relationship-centered model designed to foster meaningful connections and create environments where individuals feel valued, supported, and safe to learn, lead, and grow without fear or judgment. Through her work, Dr. Boodram-Wright reminds us that when stories are seen, voices are honored, and relationships are rooted in care, trust, and safety, true belonging and lasting change become possible. So please help me welcome the beautiful Dr. Cary Boodram-Wright. How are you?
I'm amazing. Thank you for having me here. From the moment we met, I knew that there was a connection instantly.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. Your story is amazing. Again, just, the fact that you've shared so much about yourself through your book, which we're going to speak about later, and how you've navigated this journey here in the U.S. And also trying to teach that to others, to bear those stories within them and share them with others. so that they can grow and learn. I think it's so important. So thank you, my friend, for being here. I appreciate it. So I read so much through your bio, and I know you guys are like, oh my God, she's awesome, and I want to hear everything. But I want you to tell us your beginnings, your humble beginnings. Where did you come from? Where did you originate from? And how long have you been here in the United States?
So, my parents are from Trinidad and Tobago, and I was born in the United States. However, in my family, being born in the United States just meant that you had a piece of paper that said, you know, place of birth, the
Yes.
United States.
Right.
That had nothing to do with how you were brought up, your values, your morals, your characteristics that you were developing as a child. I came from a family that was very structured, very religious. My family in Trinidad and here are very popular classical Indian singers.
Oh, wow.
My father is a singer, so that really came with a lot of culture, but a lot of structure as well.
Okay.
And structure that I not always welcomed. I was born in America,
Right.
but my whole entire childhood upbringing was that of being Hindu, being Indian, being from Trinidad, having parents that, yes, migrated here, but maintained all of the customs and traditions that they grew with. And so I was constantly debating with my parents because I really wanted to be an American and do everything that I saw other students doing, other friends doing, other classmates doing. And my mother was an amazing person who made sure that she fulfilled her role as a mom, loving unconditionally, but also preparing meals, washing, cooking, taking care of my father, and taking care of us.
Right.
And she did not finish her education in Trinidad. She finished it at a third grade level. So for many Caribbean parents, migrating to America means opportunity through education.
Yes.
If you have that education, that's it. No one can tell you anything. You can be independent. You're making your own money. And so that comes with such glamour.
Right.
Glamour that, wow, you know, I can say now, oh my God, I have a doctorate. I'm a social justice leader. How did I go from intimidation to elevation?
Wow.
And that's really what my upbringing was. I was very timid. I was very shy. I grew up in a very strict home where doing what you want was not
not
a
an option.
part of the agenda.
Oh my God. So they wanted you to pursue opportunities. They wanted doors to be open to you, but they wanted you to maintain your traditions and your values as well. They did not want you to be Americanized in certain aspects
Yes.
of your living. So I'm sure you're a child and you notice that you're vastly different than the kids in your school.
Absolutely.
How did you navigate that? And did you share that with your parents that, you know, I wish that you would?
So that is just an amazing question, and I talk about that in my book. So being born in America, you want to do as everyone else is. However, it was known to me and my sister that you go to school, you get your education, but when you get to the door, anything American stays outside.
Oh, wow.
You go back to your regular Trinidadian ways, culture, even the way I talk. You know, many people, I still talk with an accent.
Right.
Because I grew up there, going back there all the time. Culturally, the food, the music, the people, the diversity. In Trinidad, we have such diverse culture.
Right.
And living in America and growing up in America, you did not always see other students or other families that reflected what you looked like.
Right.
So for me, going to school was very uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable for me because I didn't see anyone that looked like me.
Right.
I did not have educators at the time that really knew how to connect with me, that knew how to build a relationship.
Right.
And so even in my book, I talk about, you know, the only person that really connected with me in my elementary school that I attended in Brooklyn
Right.
was the custodian.
Stop it.
And Mr. Pablo, I would never forget his name to today. I would go in the lunchroom and he would always smile with me, always ask me how I was doing. And I remember if I had to go to the restroom or to get my food, the aides, they were very pleasant. But the most they would say to me was, "Oh, I love your skin complexion," or "I love that long hair." And I would say, "Ask me about me. Ask
exactly.
me about my culture. Ask me
Yes.
where I came from,
Yeah.
what music I listened to." Those are the things that I needed
Yes.
going to school, because I was listening to soca, I was listening to Indian classical music, religious music. I was going to the temple. I was celebrating Diwali,
Yes.
which was unknown at the time. So I felt like I had so much bottled up inside me that I could not share with anyone.
And you didn't have any students, any peers that were Caribbean from the
No.
Really?
I did not. And even, you know, even if they were at the time, I want to say that everybody probably felt that they were in the same boat in terms of, how do I share?
Yeah.
How do I initiate a conversation about my culture, my diversity?
Yeah.
I was very scared when I went to school.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you something quick that my father reminds me of. I was in 2nd grade, and my dad would take me to school every day. And before my father got home, I was at home waiting for him at the door in my building.
Wow.
And I say, how did I get away with that? How did I leave school
And came right back
actually walk all the way home in 2nd grade? And I did it for 3 weeks. My father was just telling my children this after my book launch going home. He was like, "And you know what your mother used to do? When I dropped you to school, she'd come
right
back home
back.
before I even reached back." And I mean, it went on for a while until I got some licks.
Yes.
And then I knew when I
can't do
got
this.
to school,
Yes.
make sure you
stay
stay there.
in school. So it was obvious, even in 2nd grade, that you were not happy.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And you couldn't find sort of your tribe yet. Because I'm sure you just had to figure it out.
Yes,
and
I
I know
did.
that a lot
I
of
did.
students had to do that. When I grew up, I went to school in Queens, and I was around a lot of diverse people, and they kind of just figured it out, and I know they got to a point when they were older, that, if someone asked them a question about their traditions or their nationality or
Yes.
whatever, they were forthcoming, but they didn't offer that information
Right.
straight off the bat. So how was it you navigating the rest of your school years, and not wanting to share, but still trying to pursue that dream that your parents wanted for you?
So that's key, right? My parents wanting
yes.
that higher level education for me. And for me, that I didn't want that.
Yeah.
I wanted to, what Trinidadian people say, liming. I wanted to lime. I wanted to be with friends. I wanted to go to parties. I wanted to dance. I wanted to go to the beach like my friends. And so for me, navigating through the school system meant I was defying my parents many times.
Okay.
And I was being dishonest a lot,
Right.
because what I didn't get to do when I was at home, I used school as an opportunity
Yep.
to navigate myself through going out, going to the beach, going out for lunch. And then I got creative. I would write letters. My sister,
Dr. Cary!
I'm telling you, I had a neighbor I grew up in Brooklyn in Starrett City, and we had a neighbor, Mr. Edward, I will never forget, may his soul rest in peace, and he was blind.
Wow.
But I would always go and talk to him. My mom let me, he lived right next door.
Right.
So I would tell him that my mom gives me permission to go out for lunch. So as blind as Mr. Edward was, I would take that pen and hold his hand and make him
Sign?
write a letter that says, I give my daughter permission to go out for lunch this Friday, and sign it Joyce Boodram, which was my
mother's name.
And it worked every Friday.
Oh my God. That's because you look like an honest person. How dare you, Dr. Cary? I am disturbed by that information.
That worked out for
Yeah,
me, where
yeah.
I got to go out for lunch every Friday
Yeah.
until one day my aunt, who also lived in the same complex, saw me.
Right.
And you know, she innocently, she was like, baby, you look so pretty today. Because what I was also doing was I wanted to look like everyone
changed
else.
your clothes.
So I packed a bag within my bag,
Oh my
and
God.
every day when I got to school, I changed into the little short skirt,
yeah.
the little matching top, and I was the it girl in school.
I love it. I love it.
Until my aunt saw me, and then later on, you know, innocently told my aunt, oh, I saw Cary today. She looks so cute. She looks so pretty with all she earrings. And I remember my mother, she came, I was in the bathroom, and all of a sudden I was fixing my hair, and whack! It was like, come, let me see. You was out for lunch today?
Oh my
You was out for
God.
lunch today? So for me, I was not allowed to do anything, which forced me to make my own path
Yeah.
and to choose and navigate through how I was going to live my life.
Right.
And when I was at home, I did whatever my parents needed me to do.
Right.
But when I was on the outside,
You wanted to just be normal. I get it. So you was living a sheltered life with the desire to be more of who you thought Cary
Yes.
wanted to be. So let's then now move. You're an adult now. You've known what you've experienced as a child. You know what your parents desired for you. And I'm sure that you were a great student. Clearly, you were a straight A student. She's a doctor. And living out their dreams in full color now. When did you realize that you now had to write this book? Because I know that there had to be, it says it in the title, a passion.
Yes.
So when did that passion come about? And when did you sort of connect who you are as an adult to that little girl?
so I want to say when I got to high school is when I found myself. And I found myself meaning that there were other children like me. Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados. I was like, oh yes, you know, I was comfortable. I could be myself. I now found myself in a space where I could talk with my accent. I could talk about my music. I could talk about my culture. I could talk about going to Trinidad for carnival and eating pumpsi tea and mango chow. It was an awakening for me at that moment. And from that point on, I learned to appreciate my culture, to appreciate my faith, and my father being a classical singer who spoke Hindi, who wrote his own music in Hindi, who could articulate and have conversations. And I think that was a turning point for me in high school.
I love it.
And even though I really didn't love school, because that's what my parents wanted me to do.
Right.
But it was when I started working at an MRI office. My dad and my mom paid for me to go to college,
Okay.
but I was always late.
To college?
I'm not a morning person.
Right.
And so I wouldn't go to class or I would get there late.
Right.
And my father, after the first semester, he was like, okay, no problem. You don't want to go to school. That is your business.
Right.
But when you do decide to go to school, me ain't fit anymore.
That's right. Yep.
So watch me. I was like, it's okay. Don't worry. You know, I started working at an MRI office from 8 to 4.
Wow.
And I was like, after a couple months, I don't like people telling me what to do. I don't work well with that at all, especially in a derogatory manner. Speak to me respectfully,
Right.
and you can get the world from me.
Right.
And so I encountered a supervisor that was not to my liking, in the sense that it wasn't what I expected from having a leader or an administrator. And that was my ticket out.
I hear that.
After that, I enrolled in college, went back,
That's right.
got my bachelor's degree.
Yes.
I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. I just wasn't sure at what time. You know,
Right.
my life had to come first, and then I was going to do that. But
Yes.
at this moment, that's when I really woke up and said to myself, this is not your career. This is not what you want to do.
Yep.
And I started pursuing my bachelor's degree, then my master's degree. And then after that, as I was working with more migrant students and really seeing a reflection of myself within them, you know, being a literacy specialist, I get to see a lot of different aspects of how children acquire second language, how they write, how their fluency builds, their vocabulary. And when I was doing that, I came to a standstill.
Okay.
And I was like, there's more. I have to be able to
Right.
do more. I want to do more in my life. I want to be an advocate for these children, for families and parents of migrant children and English language learners, because I know what that felt like.
Yes.
What's the best way to advocate? It's
It's experience.
exactly
Yes.
really going through your lived experiences
Yeah.
and how you feel, and then using that to choose your trajectory.
Yes.
And that is what I did, and that's how my master's, my doctorate in social justice came along.
Wow.
My book, I had a deadline for myself.
And let's see that book.
And so, igniting my passion, understanding the impact of untold stories.
Yes. I love it. And that is you on the cover?
That is me on the
Oh
cover.
my God. How old are you in that picture?
I think I was about 8.
8 years old.
8 years old in
I
that picture.
love it. I love it. So something sparked you. Something literally inspired you at that moment because of the kids that you were actually surrounding
Yes.
yourself with,
Yes.
and your own lived experience. You needed to put it on paper. So go ahead.
Exactly. So I'm very fortunate that I meet so many different people. And, you know, some people will say, oh, you know, you're beautiful. And I appreciate that comment. But the comment that I appreciate more is, you are such a beautiful person. Your personality, the way you look at things, your perspective, the way your passion shines through.
Yes.
And as much as, of course, every woman wants to be, you know, noticed for being beautiful and well
Yes.
put together, it means more to me that you notice me for what I stand for and what I believe in.
Yes, I agree.
And so this book was an example of that. And I started this book in September of 2024.
Oh, wow, last year.
And I gave myself a deadline of February 2025.
Wow.
And I was done, like the script, the manuscript, everything was done. What took the time was really finding the publishing company that was going to really mesh with the things that I wanted.
Right.
I'm a person of quality. I have high standards and high expectations for myself
Right.
and for whatever I am putting out
Right.
into the world. And if I don't meet with those same qualifications and standards, whether it's in a person, a company, a business, I do not feel as though my goals are aligned.
Right. I see what
And
you're
so
saying.
I had to depart from a publishing company that I initially started working with. And then I took a little break. And then I decided that I was going to take another route,
Right.
which I did. And so my book launch was this past November. And thank you. Igniting My Passion, Understanding the Impact of Untold Stories,
Yes.
turned out to be so much more than just a manuscript.
Yes.
You know, I get texts when I'm, you know, just teaching or working. Oh my God, this book spoke to me. I
Yes.
feel like you wrote this for me. And sometimes, you know, the first time someone made that comment to me via text, my eyes started watering because that's what you want.
Yes. You want
You
that
want
connection.
people to resonate
Yes.
with what you're saying.
Yes.
You want to be a voice for all of the unheard, and you want to be able to make an impact.
Well, that is what one of my questions is. Why do you believe untold stories hold so much power, especially within our schools and our learning communities?
I believe that untold stories hold a lot of power because they really describe who we are, our lived experiences, what we've been through, the good and the bad.
Yes.
And sometimes there's more bad than good, but if you learn how to project those experiences, those feelings, those emotions, that could be your way out.
Yes.
And so that's what it was for me.
Right.
And I did have a wonderful upbringing.
Right.
However, I did have challenges also. You know, Caribbean people are very structured, they're very strict.
Yes.
They have specific, you know, I want to say not necessarily rules, but for lack of a better word,
Rules.
you know, dominance
Yes.
within a relationship.
Yeah.
And so everything is not all that it appears to be.
Right, right.
And when I say that, I had a lot of things inside of me, you know, between my parents and their relationship, between their expectations of me and what I had to do, what I wanted to do, how I felt that I was treated in school,
Right.
and eventually, you know, in the workplace as well. Always having to prove yourself is not an easy task. And when you're very outspoken and outgoing, not everyone appreciates that.
Right.
And so I went through most of my educational career
Right.
without my parents knowing how I felt.
Really?
Because I had to keep, you know, my parents didn't want to hear it.
Right.
You know, they did not want to hear like, oh, mommy and daddy, I don't feel good when I'm going to school. Nobody don't talk to me. Them don't look at me.
Yeah.
I don't get no compliments. Them don't. It's like, go to school. Go
Do-
what you're there for. You're
And
there to
thank
get
you.
your education. Come back home, do your homework,
Yep.
do whatever you need to do in terms of chores.
Trust
Go
me.
to sleep, wake up,
Girl.
repeat it again.
That was like that in a lot of households.
Yes.
I wasn't able to have a voice either. Regardless of what was going on in school, whatever growing pains I was going
Yes.
through, my parents didn't
Yes.
want to hear about it. You're going to school, I'm affording you this opportunity. I need you to make something of yourself. Keep your eye on the prize and keep it moving.
Yes.
And that's it. And I know that in you finally being able to share that has resonated with so many people, and not necessarily just immigrants,
Right.
like people who were born and raised here that
Yes.
didn't have that voice, because I didn't either, girl.
Yep.
Everything that you're saying, I totally understand. It was their dream. And trust and believe, think about it real quick. Isn't your children's dream your dream?
Yes.
don't you want for them what your parents, I'm sure, wanted for
Yes.
you, and you kind of want them to go down the path that you've designed for them?
Well-
but what are you doing different?
Well, that's the thing. You know, when you have children, especially a first-time mom, you follow the regimen that has been prescribed for you.
Exactly.
And you don't really know how to stray away from that. And so with my first daughter, I found myself battling with her a lot because the way that I grew up is the way that I was raising her.
Yep.
And she was me fighting against, wanted her own, wanting her own identity, wanting to do things. And I couldn't see it then.
Yeah.
I could not see it. But as I got older, with my son, it was much different
Right.
with him.
Okay.
And with my baby, it's very different.
Right.
And so I always say, parents have such an amazing job. They are able to curate a child with all of the love and the morals and the values and the education. But sometimes we get sidetracked with what we want,
Yes.
that we don't necessarily listen to what they want.
Exactly.
And so that's the trap that I fell into, experiencing it with my own parents and then doing it to some extent with my own children.
Right.
But being a scholarly person right now, going through all of my lived experiences, talking to different people, having different perspectives, and being introduced to different conversations, it allows me to now say to my children, we can do this differently. I can be more open to your needs and what
Yes.
you want.
Yes.
I'm looking at it with a different lens on right now. And my youngest daughter, I want to say she gets the best of me now because I have gone through so much personally and professionally.
You're a fully realized person now.
Yes, it's like it's come back full circle.
Yes, I totally understand
Yes,
it. It's
yes.
like all of those bumps, bruises, growing pains, and things that you even had to do as an adult. Because again, we just want the best for our children,
Yes,
but we don't realize that sometimes we get caught up in the same cycles. So I think that is truly amazing. Well, you've created this amazing business, Wright Visioneer Consulting. Tell me, your work closely works with leaders and educators. What are some of the most common barriers you see when it comes to creating truly inclusive spaces?
I think just accepting people for who they are and understanding. I believe that compassion goes a long way.
Oh, yeah.
And when you are a compassionate person, you are able to take bits and pieces and put them together. And what I mean by that is you can have 10 different people in your work environment, 10 different children that all may have even come from the same diaspora, but they all have different experiences.
Very true.
And you have to be open to listening to what their needs are, listening to their different experiences and perspectives, and trying to find the commonalities instead of the differences.
Yes.
And I find that when you dig deeper and you create a foundation of care, comfort, trust, and safety, everyone starts to feel a positive well-being that allows them to share, to open up, to collaborate, to feel respected and valued, where they no longer fear sharing who they are.
Exactly.
And so that for me breaks down massive barriers.
I agree.
Completely.
I totally agree. And I think, as I mentioned earlier in the show, that we need to find opportunities that we're able to share that. We're not in conversations that people are questioning your upbringing, where you come from, your nationality, your traditions. You're right. They'll literally comment on how beautiful your eyes are because they're intoxicating. I'm up here and I'm in a trance right now. Her eyes are so beautiful. But they will get caught up in the physical before they want to know the spiritual and the emotional. And I think that during this season, especially when we're in a world that everyone is fighting to be heard and to be seen and to be understood and to be loved and to be shown some kind of compassion and kindness, that we share a little about ourselves and do it authentically. If your conversation is, how was your day, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's, well, you know, I don't celebrate Christmas, but I celebrate, and you share a little about that. This is what I do this time of the year. This is what my parents taught me as a child. And I think that that would kind of bond people closer together.
It does. And the more open you are to other cultures, other ways of doing things, I think that just, it highlights you in such a positive way that it draws people to you. And I also feel that with me, you know, where we come from in Trinidad, there is a very diverse population of people. We have Chinese Trinidadians, Indian Trinidadians, white Trinidadians, black Trinidadians, and sometimes when people hear that, they're like, what? They don't understand. Like, how could Chinese people be talking with an accent? And then you have to be open to talking about the history. You have to also find people that connect with you on a level that they're interested to hear those stories, that culture, how it came to be. And that allows everyone into a shared space where you don't have to have that guard up anymore. You don't have to be worried, oh my God, I don't know what that means. Should I let on? Should I ask that question? Because now you feel safe in the space that you're in. You feel comfortable, you feel cared for, you feel that people trust and value you. And so everything just starts to come together at that point.
I love that framework, the framework of care, comfort, trust, and safety, because I think that is the foundation for building you know, a compassionate and understanding relationship with people. And I think that is amazing. Well, let me ask you, can you share an example of how an untold story, yours or someone else's, led to healing or transformation?
Absolutely. So recently I was in a situation with a child, okay? And this child did not speak any English at all. But whenever I encountered her, you could always see a little bit of distress. Like she wasn't herself, she wasn't engaged in the conversation. And so at that moment, I don't speak Spanish. So I had to figure out, how was I going to get, you know, get her to conversate with me, to understand what was going on with her. And so I did Google for a little while, but that takes a long time. So in Trinidad, we are very close to Venezuela. And I have family that are Venezuelan.
Oh, wow.
And so I was able to call one of them up and say, you know, X, Y, and Z, I need you to find out what's going on. And so this person that's a family member, I connected them with this child.
Wow.
And the child, you know, just knowing me and the atmosphere that I have created allowed them to share what was going on. And so, you know, I witnessed the whole conversation.
Wow.
And I was able to uncover what was going on. I was able to provide an outlet, a resource for the family. And so that situation, you know, you talk about being creative at times, and having to think quick. What could I do? I did try Google, and Google worked for a little bit, but for the amount of information that needed to be dispersed at that moment,
Right.
a conversation had to happen.
Yes.
So I had to get someone that could initialize that conversation and get everything out by being compassionate and loving, and also this child knowing who I was and the atmosphere that I created to let them know that they could trust me.
Yes.
And so resolution, awareness, everything came out of our short time together. And so in my book, towards the back of it, the book is considered an educational resource because, yes, I talk about my story from intimidation to elevation, but I also have research findings from the actual study I did.
Okay.
And there are resources in the back for parents and also leaders to understand what types of questions need to be answered, for parents to know who are school staff members. Remember, when you come to this country, you're scared, you're intimidated, you don't know what to expect. You are going from your children being safe with you to giving your children away to strangers for 7-8 hours a day, to people that you don't know anything about. For my parents, my mom was very intimidated with going to school. You know, she always felt that she didn't have a higher level education. She didn't know the big vocabulary words. So when parent-teacher conferences came up, she would tell me, like, baby, me I going, you know, because I don't want to embarrass you or myself. And so I created a book that serves so many different people.
I love that.
There's a questionnaire of what parents could ask when they go to school. Who can help my child learn English? Are there any classes that I could take? What support systems are in place that I could take advantage of? What can I do at home? Parents can understand with reading, how does vocabulary and fluency get developed in school? What can they do at home, and where should their child be? So as they become more accustomed with the culture, with being acclimated in a new country and their child in a new school, they have a resource within this book that can be used. And so I'm really trying to get this book out to new teachers, to educational institutions, to workplaces, because that's where these group of valued people, students, workers, employees, these are the organizations in which they are.
Yes, you're right. Your child could be this little girl. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's basically what you're saying, is that your child, who you just send to school, that you just want the best for them, yes, but you're not listening to what they need, what they want, what they're having issues with, what problems they're encountering, how they're feeling in school and around their peers. They're wrapped up into this little girl right here who didn't get her voice really until she became an adult. And you don't want your children to wait that long, because they need to find that self-love, that self-acceptance, that self-esteem at an early age. Let's give them a leg up on that, and not wait until we're in our older age, and now we're finally figuring out, like with your father, what was going on with you as a child.
I mean, I tell my dad stories now, like, you know, oh, I was cutting out of school, and you
you're
know,
in
he
shock.
looks at me, and then, you know, he'll just look and smile, and then I'll say, oh, you remember when you beat me? You come to pick me up from school, and I wasn't there, but I enjoyed my day at the beach. But unfortunately, I couldn't talk to you all about that.
with you.
I mean, anything could have happened to me, right?
Thank you, and they
I was
wouldn't have
taking
never
the
known.
bus, I was going to, you know, all these different places. And my parents had no idea.
We need to start listening to our children and make them feel safe.
Yes.
Just like with her framework, it's not just for strangers, it's not just for educators, it's for parents as well. Care, comfort, trust, and safety. You want your children to feel that every single day of their lives so that they can tell you the truth and not running around the street like this gal was doing when she was a child. And even me, to be honest with you. I was in high school and literally the 11th grade is when I decided, oh, I can't do this anymore. I need to start exploring. My parents were so protective over me.
Yes.
I had to go to school and come home. They knew exactly what time my classes ended, and they knew exactly what time that bus or train should get me in front of my house. And I had no time to be a teenager. And it was in my 11th grade, and I messed that grade up so bad because I now wanted to follow everyone else. You know what I mean? If all they would have done was listen to me and gave me some time to hang out with my friends and over the weekend, for me to dress the way I wanted to dress.
And to also believe that they have given you all the tools. You know right from wrong.
Yes.
You know what it is to have self-respect and morals and values.
Yeah.
Trust me that everything that you have embedded within me is going to be carried out.
Oh, that's right.
Just give me a chance to show you that.
I agree. So let me ask you real quick, because time is winding down. How does self-love and self-care show up in leadership, and why is it essential, especially for those doing equity-centered work like yourself?
So for me, relationships are everything. And in leadership, you need to make sure that your staff knows that you value not only them, but you value their well-being. You want to make sure that you are creating an environment where they feel cared for, where they are comfortable. They can go to you if they have a question. They can collaborate with a colleague. They can share their experiences, learning about commonalities and differences, to allow them to really create different opportunities of learning and productivity. And I believe that when you create an environment where everyone is comfortable with each other because they feel as though they are welcomed with a sense of belonging, you get the most out of an individual.
Yes.
If you as an employer values my well-being, talks to me, has frequent conversation, may just smile and ask me, how are you today? How's your family? Did you have a good weekend? I mean, it doesn't have to be a long conversation, but consistency with well thought out compassion that is purposeful and intentional creates positive well-being, which then leads to success and productivity, which leads to longevity and sustainability for all.
I love that. Oh my God. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. Thank you so much for that. All right, real quick before we get to the events that you have coming up, literally as quickly as you can, what would you tell this little girl today?
I would tell that little girl that you need not pay attention to what anyone else thinks about you or how they see you. You need to lead with what's inside of you. Be true to yourself. Show your identity. Be proud of who you are. And you are going to attract the attention, all of the right attention from people that are going to value you and help you to progress and grow. And any challenges that you may experience are going to serve as a path of success for you, because the tools that you use to overcome those challenges are going to steer you to everything positive that is going to lead you to a place of positive well-being, success, and respect.
Love that. Thank you so much, Dr. Cary.
Thank you
I
for
love you so
having
much for
me.
being here. You have been a wealth of information and care,
you.
comfort, trust, and safety. I love it. Let's share real quick some events you have coming up. I know you have an event coming up in January. In 20 seconds or less, tell us a little about that.
Absolutely. So January 24th, 2026, I have my first annual Educational and Business Wellness Conference at Leonard's Palazzo. It is drawing from the expertise of all different types of leaders, government, the arts, education, financial advisors, and also healthcare. And we are just pooling together all of the knowledge that we have. How do we implement wellness, and why is wellness so valuable and important? And we're going to have a panel discussion at the upscale Leonard's.
I love it. Okay, and you have an event coming up in March as well. Tell us a little about that.
So this event, I'm actually being honored for igniting my passion.
Oh, wow, I love it.
Understanding the impact of Untold Stories at Crest Hollow.
Okay.
And so there is a slew of wonderful, wonderful people here that have been honored for all of their work.
Okay, excellent. And I think you're going to also have an event in the spring.
And so right now we celebrate Caribbean Heritage Month in June. So spring 2026, I am going to have a female author circle where we talk about the stories of women, Caribbean women, that have really empowered their lives, their projection, and how we can empower young women.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for all of that information. We're going to put up her information as well. You can reach out to this beautiful young lady as well as find out more information about the events that she just mentioned on her website. You can also follow her on Instagram, or you can email her. And please be sure to contact her so that you can purchase, or you can find out more information about her amazing book, Igniting My Passion, Understanding the Impact of Untold Stories. Thank you so much, Dr. Cary. I so appreciate you.
And I so appreciate everything that you're doing on this platform so that we all get an opportunity to share the wealth of knowledge that we have, so that we can make this world a better place.
Amen. That's the goal of your unity. Thank you again, my love.
Thank
I so
you.
appreciate you. So we're going to get real quick to the Dare to Be You. And it is dare to share your story. Because in your truth lives the power to create belonging, spark understanding, and remind others that they are not alone. When we courageously share who we are, we build bridges of empathy, break down barriers, and discover just how much we have in common. And that's exactly what this amazing woman has shared with us today. When we share of ourselves, we are breaking down barriers that need to be destroyed and dismantled, so the truth of who we are can be shared, shown, loved, and just succeed in this world as well, so that we can create a better world. I'd like to thank you guys again for tuning in to another fabulous episode of Your Unity. I'd like to thank our amazing guest, beautiful, and I'm going to say it, intoxicating, Dr. Cary Boodram-Wright, for being here. I want you guys to have a fabulous holiday season. Please remember that I love you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. I'll see you next year. I want you to have a fabulous evening as well. Remember that I love you and that peace and love is in the palm of our hands. So let's go out there and be some love, share some love, and just walk in love. We will see you soon. Have a wonderful night. Good night. Say good night, Dr. Cary.
Good night.